There comes a moment in almost every person's life when they begin to wonder whether the world is trying to tell them something. Not through a booming voice from the sky or a dramatic miracle, but through the quiet details that most people overlook. Maybe you wake up one morning with an unexplainable feeling that it's time for a change. Hours later, someone unexpectedly mentions an opportunity you never knew existed. Perhaps you've been carrying a difficult question for weeks, and then while standing in a supermarket queue, you overhear two strangers discussing the exact topic that's been on your mind. Maybe you take a different route home because of traffic, only to discover a place, a person, or an idea that shifts the direction of your thinking. Most people call these moments coincidence. Others immediately search for hidden meanings in everything they see. But what if neither explanation tells the whole story? What if life is responding not to the words you speak, but to the person you are becoming? Think about that for a moment. Long before your circumstances begin to change, something inside you quietly begins moving first. Every decision you make, every belief you repeat, every expectation you carry becomes part of the atmosphere you live in. You may not notice it because it happens gradually, but little by little your inner world starts influencing the way you experience the outer one. Many people spend years asking for a different future while refusing to release the thoughts that created their present. They dream of peace, but rehearse worry every single day. They pray for abundance while constantly expecting lack. They hope for healthier relationships while secretly believing they are destined to be disappointed. It's like planting seeds for one kind of tree and becoming frustrated when a completely different fruit never appears. Life isn't punishing you. It's revealing what has already been planted. Imagine carrying a pair of glasses with lightly tinted lenses. After wearing them long enough, you stop noticing the color altogether. Everything simply appears to be that shade. The world hasn't changed. Your eyes haven't changed. Only the lens has. Beliefs work much the same way. When someone believes that every opportunity is temporary, they become anxious the moment success arrives. When someone believes they aren't worthy of genuine love, they often mistake inconsistency for affection because it feels familiar. When someone believes life is always an uphill battle, they unconsciously prepare themselves for struggle before the challenge even appears. Eventually, every experience begins confirming what they already expected. Not because reality is unfair, because perception quietly organizes attention. Have you ever noticed how buying a new car suddenly makes you see that same model everywhere? Those cars weren't magically created overnight. They were always there. Your attention simply learned what to notice. The same thing happens with your beliefs. What you repeatedly expect slowly becomes what your mind searches for. That doesn't mean life is completely controlled by thought alone. Challenges are real. Loss is real. Unexpected setbacks happen to everyone. But there is an enormous difference between experiencing difficulty and building your identity around it. One difficult season doesn't have to become your definition. One disappointment doesn't have to become your future. One failure doesn't have to become your name. Yet countless people unknowingly allow temporary experiences to become permanent identities. I always fail. Nothing ever works out. People can't be trusted. I'm just unlucky. These aren't observations anymore. They become instructions. The remarkable thing about the human mind is that it works tirelessly to prove itself right. Once it accepts a belief as truth, it begins collecting evidence to support it while quietly ignoring everything that contradicts it. That's why two people can walk through the same storm and come away with completely different stories. One remembers only the darkness. The other remembers discovering their own strength. The storm was identical. The interpretation wasn't. This is where real transformation begins, not by pretending difficult moments don't exist, but by becoming aware of the story you're attaching to them. Every experience asks a silent question. What meaning will you give this? Will it become another reason to doubt yourself? Or will it become the lesson that prepares you for the next chapter? Too often we spend our lives trying to force every door open. We exhaust ourselves pushing against opportunities that were never meant for us, relationships that have already reached their ending, and identities we've long since outgrown. Sometimes wisdom doesn't arrive by adding more effort. Sometimes it arrives by releasing resistance. Think of an archer preparing to release an arrow. Before the arrow can move forward, there must first be a willingness to let go. Without that release, all the strength in the world accomplishes nothing. Your future often works the same way. Holding tightly to old fears while asking for a new life only creates tension. The moment you loosen your grip on what no longer belongs to you, space begins opening for what does. That isn't weakness, it's alignment. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about personal growth is believing that change starts with circumstances. In reality, circumstances often arrive as the final chapter of a process that began invisibly within you. The confidence appeared before the opportunity. The decision came before the breakthrough. The identity shifted before the results became visible. Everything meaningful begins quietly. A seed never announces itself before becoming a forest. The sunrise doesn't rush the horizon. The strongest foundations are built long before anyone admires the building standing above them. So if life feels slow right now, don't assume nothing is happening. Some of the most important transformations occur beneath the surface, where no applause exists and no audience is watching. Keep becoming the person your future requires. Eventually, the world has no choice but to meet the version of you that refused to stop growing.